Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. It's day 2 of KNC 2026. We are happy to see you all gathered here this morning. It was amazing to see the energy you brought in yesterday in your conversations and the ideas that flowed well past the sessions. We could really sense the connection grow throughout the day. We can't wait to kick off day 2.
Yeah, and before we get started, just a couple of reminders to make sure the day runs smoothly. If you're checking out today, please make sure you do so before 11 a.m. There will be a staffed luggage hold around the Keen tables that will stay available until 1 p.m., so you can leave your bags there and pick them up later. If you need an extended baggage hold, you can do that around the lobby and the reception. And airport shuttles, the schedules of those will be out once they've been updated. And regarding lunch, that will be boxed. So you can all pick a box around 10:30 a.m. is when they're going to be ready on your way out. All right, Prashanth, do you think it's time to announce the winners of the competition?
I think so. Let's
Okay.
go for it.
So if you haven't checked your emails already, the competition winners have been announced. There will be 50 winners. 25 will win the Keen jacket and 25 will win the Keen backpack. So the winners of the Keen jacket are...
Come on, let's make some noise for the...
Let's give them a big round of applause. And then the 25 winners of the Keen backpack are on the screen. Let's give them a big round of applause. We really hope you enjoy your prizes.
Congratulations, everyone. And I just wanted to give you a quick reminder. We're ready to move on to the next phase. After the morning talks, you will head out to one final workshop, and we'll come back here for a short farewell. Let's keep that momentum from yesterday going, and let's get the morning started. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. Oh, I wondered who all would be here, and I'm glad to see so many faces. This is fantastic. All right. So, had a thought last night I want to share with you. Let's talk about preparedness. A lot of engineers I know are prepared. And I don't know about you, but there are kind of some things you think about when preparedness. There's acronyms you learn. One of the ones I ran across a long time ago was MAPS. And so you look at this acronym and go, preparedness, minimum capability kit. I love that. I told you yesterday, I love lots of little tools and gadgets. Ability to improvise, knowing what your purpose is before you go on some excursion or expedition, and situational awareness. So MAPS is one of these acronyms. So I want to tell you what I have in my minimum capability kit. And I'm a little bit embarrassed about this, but I'll share on the next slide here. So I started taking an inventory last night, and I saw this. Just soak that in for a second. All right. Took the things out of my backpack, which I tend to accumulate. I go, oh, I may need this at some point. I might need, here it is, I might need convenient pocket-sized duct tape to carry with me at some point. Oh, you're getting a little insight here. I might need my Keen socks. I might need my snacks. And I might need my flashlight. I always carry a flashlight with me everywhere I go. I might need to immediately measure something. I don't know if that comes up as an emergency. And you go, Doug, what is going on in the bottom right corner? I know. That is Desmond. So he is my photo opportunity person. He's already been out at the Keen Letters and taken a picture. So he goes wherever we travel. Desmond seems to go, and he makes it. So I'm looking at my minimum capability kit and asking myself, am I prepared? Was I prepared for the uncertainty, for the different things? And I think maybe, yeah. You know why? Because that MAPS thing that I just shared is not the sum total. There's this thought, and I've read a little bit about this before, on an idea called relational preparedness. I think it's an under-celebrated thing. You surround yourself with a network, you surround yourself with people, you find people who care, and you care for a reason. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to give a little bit of thanks to, you're going to be surprised, the hotel staff stayed overnight to take care of us. Let's give them a round of applause. In the same way, this network is part of relational preparedness. We get to know each other and we rely on each other. We share stuff. We say, hey, do you know what I'm doing in my classroom? What are you doing in yours? And that relational preparedness goes a long, long ways to the overall preparedness. So I'm thankful for that. The other thing I wanted to share with you is a different kind of preparedness. And it's, I asked a person, I said, could I share your photo? I want to know, we'll see, I can't tell from the lights if she's here, but I'll put her photo up and I'll ask in just a moment. When you think about, when I went into the classroom for the first time, I came out of industry, I taught for 17 years, I've been at the foundation for 13 years, but when I came from industry to the classroom, I had a very strange experience, or it was strange to me. One of the first meetings was the curriculum committee. I walk in, I meet the faculty, some faculty I had not met before, several I had been on the search committee, so I met. And it was a curriculum meeting. And it was the first time, it was my first committee meeting, and I sit down and I ask, okay, you know, what's the purpose of what's the charter of the meeting? They had an agenda, which is good for a meeting. They had an agenda, and we talked about the curriculum, and there were some changes that were being proposed. And I said, who has the notes for this particular course, this particular class that I'm scheduled to teach for the first time? And they looked at me a little bit strangely like, okay, you're a little bit on your own on this. You kind of develop your own notes. You find your own book. And I had come from industry where we had met every week planning our work. And so my natural inclination is when I get to the new setting in academia, we rely on each other. And in this particular case, I found my mentors there. That's the good news. In this particular case, though, I learned that sometimes in academia, you feel a little bit on your own. So I developed an appreciation for this relational preparedness over time and finding people that could share. And I think this is what this community is. It's just not at one campus, it's at so many. So I'm thankful for that. But I wasn't even ready to teach. I had never taught classes before. And so something that would have helped me is something that we have today in the network, and that's faculty development. I was at lunch yesterday talking with someone, and I said, what do you like about this community? And they said, I like the faculty development. I've gone to a workshop, and I've really enjoyed it. It's changed how I teach. It's more than enjoyment. It's actually prepared me to do better. So that preparedness came out. So I said, could I put your picture up? Could I share your story? When I talked with somebody last week, and Davina Jaswal, are you here, Davina? Woot if you are. Okay, she may not be here. So, but she gave me permission to share her quick story. She said, I just learned about Keen through this faculty development opportunity. I didn't even know what any of the language was. And then I participated in a 2019 workshop on the 3 C's, and then participated on Problem Solving Studio, Making with Purpose, served as a community catalyst, which is somebody who works on the Engineering Unleashed platform to welcome others or maybe create some groups or something. and served actually in 3 cohorts of those Comcats, and then served as a facilitator for her own workshops on 2 faculty development workshops. And what's not even on this list, people, is this summer, she's participating in another workshop that's focused on character and entrepreneurial mindset. So she was recognized last year as a rising star at the guitar, and published a bunch of cards on Engineering Unleashed. And she said it all started because of this faculty development. And she has appreciated it. And it's been a great story that I hear on occasion from people that invest their time into this. So, folks, this year, if you go to the website, Engineering Unleashed, the URL is at the top. If you go to that location, you'll find the 2026 catalog for faculty development. And it has a variety of courses, and it has the pathway. Here's the whole process that goes from end to end, because you go to a quick start, you go to a meetup, and then you have that year-long coaching process that's could be a variety of like just community practice. It could be talking with somebody individually. It could be talking with the group that you participated with. But it is the thing that's like, I'm not just going to go to a 3-day thing. I'm actually going to develop and deliver and assess something that connects to that. So there's a variety of workshops. That's one of the things that continues. And so we'll have a whole suite of those that are listed in the catalog. I wanted to tell you about some initiatives that are going on so that you know as insiders what's happening with the faculty development work. So I'm just going to quickly go through a few things, and then a little bit later on, we're going to sample one of them. So the ACE workshop, you may have known it as ICE. I'm not going to say any more other than we have renamed it to ACE workshops. Move on. You know, this event, it has been the mainstay. It's been a key workshop where people go, what is this entrepreneurial mindset? How do you do it? I've heard the ideas, I subscribe, I get it. I think it'll help students and society and even our institution, but how do you do it? And so ACE has been the place. No, I can't use that either. ACE has been the workshop where people say, okay, I'm going to take these ideas and connect them to active learning and actually build something. Maybe it's a simple first try, maybe it's an entire course, but these are fantastic workshops. That's one initiative that is getting expanded. By next year, 2027, you're going to see 3 times the capacity for ACE. What this means, folks, for those of you who are thinking about, well, that's a lot. We are actually inviting, and we have the capability and resources to be an exponent to all of engineering education. So it's not just for 70 universities. This is for universities across the country and inviting them to participate in this as well. So this is a definite move to go, we've got something, let's make it bigger. All right, here's another initiative. People dig this. I love explaining this initiative to people because it hits them. When you were a graduate student or a postdoc, when you're early in the stages of thinking, maybe an academic career is something that you want to pursue, and you're an emerging educator. And so one initiative is around these emerging educators and providing that same sort of development opportunity for that group. This year, in 2026, this summer, we will have spots for 90 folks that are emerging educators. Most of them graduate students, a few postdocs. We put out the invitation for folks for these 90 spots. We've got 223 applications. And so the review committee has a job of kind of like, how do we narrow this down? But what an indicator of there's a hunger for this and there's an interest in it. That's another initiative. Here's an initiative I personally love. I still love, even though my role may be now in philanthropy and we get the privilege of doing this work, I'm such a techie. I love the technical, and I love how entrepreneurial mindset plays a different role in different disciplines. Think about how entrepreneurial mindset lands in, say, civil engineering. Your stakeholders are different, the municipality or somebody that's creating a structure. It's just, timelines are different compared to, say, entrepreneurial mindset in, say, computer engineering, where you've got quicker iterations, different levels of investment. Entrepreneurial mindset lands differently in different industries with different work. It's time that we contextualized some of this, how this lands in your discipline and how it lands in the industries that your students are associated with. So it's like a maturity curve. We've gotten to the point where we got to go that last quarter mile to make sure entrepreneurial mindset is fitting this piece that we need out at the end. So there's work. You'll find in the catalog, there's work on civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and so on. The thing that's up on the screen now and the scrolling through is about doing faculty development on campuses. Keynesian is a great collection of 14 stories, many of them associated with how faculty development can be done on your campus. Do you have a center for teaching and learning? You probably do. Maybe even within the College of Engineering, there might be one. And so you go, okay, how are they involved in this? How is our college involved in faculty development? And we are interested in initiatives that also get that into that sustained path, because that's a way to create permanency and change at your institution. If you believe that like there's an opportunity, reach out. We want to have conversations about what you're trying to do, what your institution's trying to do, and institutionalizing these changes. All right, professional societies is another initiative where we're saying, you know, if you're associated with a professional society, or maybe you're driving a professional society, you've been heavily involved, or directly talking to the executive staff of a professional society saying, what do your members want? Do they want faculty development? If you look at this slide, you'd say that the qualifier is that your logo is blue. That is not. If your professional society has other colors in their logo, that's completely acceptable. We want to talk to folks whose professional societies recognize the importance of entrepreneurial mindset and getting that out to their members, and they see that as a value proposition and a value add to their membership. I put these four up because these are ones that we have some partnerships or have had partnerships with. Some are in more development mode. There's a lot of others that we've talked with. If you have insider information, tracks, if you're working with that professional society in some ways where you go, I think there's an opportunity here, we want to talk. And we want to talk to those leaders of those professional societies, because that's an avenue that everybody has to recognize the value proposition that's connected for their membership and so on. But they're doing it. I won't describe the work there, but if you're connected to one of those that's listed there, we can talk later about what's happening in those professional societies. That's a great initiative. EM Fuel is a fantastic initiative that is commencing today, actually, as a group goes to, that's meeting here at this site. That's going to be the kickoff for some of the EM Fuel activities. It's described here. It is for future university engineering leaders. That vacuum of leadership and planning for succession planning, there's a real need there. And there's a need for those leaders to be entrepreneurial minded. A group of individuals here in this community have recognized that, started something that has a growth path that looks terrific. A lot of initiatives in development. In fact, if you just count them up, what I just showed you, there's 7 different initiatives that are connected to this. Now, if you're going, that's a lot, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like that's a lot. We at the Current Family Foundation, with the approval of family and the board, are even adding capacity at the Current Family Foundation to help scale some of these things. And so we're going to be adding a program director that's focused on how do we scale all of these initiatives together. All right. With that, I want to add one footnote. The footnote is a lot of the work really depends on what I said yesterday about scholarship. It's key to, we are in the S curve, if you know what I'm talking about, the S curve, the growth curve or the maturity curve, to say it's time to make sure we have scholarship in place, get key things published, build that for our community, for the betterment of our community, and for the mission, ultimately, to the students and graduates. With that, I dress like a highlighter. Does anybody notice that I dress like a highlighter? So, keen highlights. With that, I get the privilege of introducing a couple of folks that are going to bring the next keen highlight. And so, welcome on stage, please, Cheryl Bodner and Adam Carberry.
Good morning. Thanks, Doug, for the introduction. Before Cheryl and I jump into sharing a little bit about some of the research that we're doing, we want to take you through a little bit of a scenario. We think this will resonate with many of you. Some of you have experienced this firsthand. Others have heard it from others, or maybe you've made some assumptions about the framework itself and how it can be used. What we're trying to do is to just clearly provide an example here and show some of the work that we're doing to create those foundational publications that can support EM-related research.
To set the scene, Adam and I are basically going to be playing ourselves, two tenure-track faculty members in the Department of Engineering Education at The Ohio State University. Important information to add is Adam serves as our department chair, and he holds what he calls unstructured hours. So each week he provides some time for faculty and staff to drop by his office, say hi, share news, and ask for advice. Another important piece is that Adam serves as a voluntary role of deputy editor for the Journal of Engineering Education, which is the premier, if not the premier, engineering education journal in our field. Knock, knock, knock.
Oh, hey, Cheryl. How's it going?
It's been a bit crazy with the start of the semester, but I think it's starting to level out now.
I hope that craziness ends pretty soon. What can I help you with today?
So I just wanted to kind of get your insight and perspective, both as a colleague and like serving in your voluntary role as the deputy editor, about this recent manuscript submission to JE that I got rejected.
Sorry to hear about that. Give me a little bit of the scope and some of the feedback that you received.
So the paper was tied to our work on the Keen Institutional Grant, where we're integrating entrepreneurial-minded learning into our first-year engineering courses. The feedback from the reviewers was actually pretty good. It talked about how our background just needed a little bit more in-depth development. It said the methods were solid. The results had clear implications for the broader engineering education research field, and they even commended us on including a positionality statement.
I mean, that all sounds pretty good. Seems like you're trending towards a publication in JE. I'm figuring you're leaving something out here.
Yeah, so I think the one piece of feedback that we got from both the reviewers and the editorial team that led to the rejection decision was that our entire study was framed around the conceptual framework of the 3 Cs. And one of the things that they commented on was that there wasn't enough citations to support why using that conceptual framing for the study. And as you can imagine, doing engineering education research, once we selected our conceptual framework, it guided our methods, our analysis approach, and then how we presented all the results in the paper. So myself and our team would have to go back to scratch if we needed to remove that from the paper.
I see. Well, you're not going to like this advice. You are definitely not the first person who's experienced this, especially in the Journal of Engineering Education. I've actually had a lot of conversations with my colleagues on the editorial board to really highlight the importance of this work being supported by the framework that drives these efforts. Unfortunately, we've just established in engineering education that rigorous research, whatever that is, must be supported by a framework that is supported by the extant literature. My recommendation, and again, it's not one that I enjoy sharing with you, is to look at some other form of dissemination of your work.
Well, so that's a scenario that might resonate with many of you, but I'm excited to share at this point that my team, so Adam Carberry, myself, Alexandra Jackson from Penn State University, Samantha Brunhaver from Arizona State University, Sanjeev Cavalli from Arizona State University, and Pratik Shakar from New Jersey Institute of Technology have been working diligently over the past 3 years in order to try to solve this problem.
So the first step that we took was to really understand the history of the 3Cs framework. And so we did what we called legacy interviews. We went back and talked to the folks who created this thing and also those who were there at the inception to really understand where this thing came from. And we were able to identify a number of keywords that we then used for our next phase.
So after that step, we took those keywords and we did an extensive scoping literature review. And the scoping literature review was for each of the 3Cs. So yes, a separate literature review for curiosity, one for connections, and another one for creating value. So when I say it was a massive search, it was, especially because we did not specify the field of origin that we were going with. So curiosity returned 1,500 papers before we got to the selection stage. Connections returned over 8,000 papers, and creating value had approximately 7,500 papers that we identified. So then we went through a systematic process using the PRISMA guidelines in order to use inclusion and exclusion criteria to narrow down to the select subset of papers that indicated theories, frameworks, or instruments that were tied to that particular C. And as you can see here, for curiosity, that large number got reduced down to 53 papers. And from that, there was 3 themes that were identified. So according to the literature, curiosity is explained as an intrinsic motivation, so that enjoyment of learning. Curiosity is framed as a behavior, so thinking about like exploratory behavior. It's also framed as a utility, so the idea of how you can use curiosity to reduce ambiguity, for instance. When it came to connections, we reduced the number of papers down to 31, and we found, again, 3 themes. So connections was framed in the literature as occurring between elements. So when you think about Keen and systems thinking, that aligns with that theme. It's also typically shown through a particular means. So for the work that's been done on concept mapping, for instance, that's a graphical representation of connections. And then finally, in the literature, connections is seen as collaborations between people. For creating value, we reduced those approximately 7,500 papers to 146 papers around these 3 themes, so that creating value is a net positive process. Creating value is for individuals, organizations, and society, and that it consists of a spectrum of value types: financial, societal, and environmental. And I am excited to share that we submitted that publication to the Journal of Engineering Education, and it was just published open access online this morning.
As many of you know, we didn't stop there. We wanted to actually bring these emerging results to the community, and some of you have participated in some of our workshops. We ran a bunch of workshops at various different venues, including KNC, to get community feedback from those who are involved in the engineering education, entrepreneurial education, societies and communities that exist. Through this, we were able to gather some additional information. We've now taken those results and have written those up and have submitted that to the International Journal of Engineering Education. As you would probably not be surprised, right? We use the scoping literature review to support our work. And we're very hopeful that this will be the first publication that leverages this scoping literature review, and hopefully the first of many that will be published using this scoping review.
So we just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for the opportunity to share our work. Here's the citation of the paper, and that QR code will take you directly to the open access version of the article if you would like to use it or read it. I'm going to just pause here for a moment. Okay. And then, as with any, waiting for phones to go down. Okay, as with any good Keen project, we also encourage you to check out our card. So the Keen 3Cs, frameworks, origins, and literature support. We also want to thank the Kern Family Foundation for the support that they gave us on this research project. The link to the paper and the other work that led to this foundational paper are also available on that card. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is such vital and important work. Thank you very much. All right, with that, I want to actually do a couple of things that I think are just critical. The whole process, what's your favorite virtue? Somebody asked me a while back, and I was able to answer that because I've thought about that a lot. For me, it's gratitude. Being thankful is like where it starts. So when we found out that we had a couple of keynote speakers cancel on us, that became a challenge. And the pivots that we made, being able to draw from this community to go, we've still got an important program to share with you, and making pivots and adjustments have included a variety of people. In a minute, you're going to meet a couple of people who stepped up to the challenge that just come from this community. But before we go there, let's do something. Michael Johnson and Karen Wilkin and Rainan are all just incredible folks to be colleagues with. And they have been able to, behind the scenes, make all sorts of adjustments and pivots, as well as the entire events team that has made the adjustments. We thank them again, but let's thank the larger team this time. Yeah. All right, so what we wanted to do is active. We've been talking for a while. The next two folks are going to get up and get us doing something together, and that's going to be fun. So, without further ado, we thought let's bring a sample of some of the faculty development that we were just talking about to this audience, and there's no two better people to do that other than Andy Gerhardt and Jessica Fick. Just welcome them on stage for the next segment.
Hello. Doug might not have been comfortable doing it, but I will, because I was walking down the hallway with Jessica yesterday, and I started singing "Ace is the Place" with the helpful EM folks. So, okay, our slides aren't here.
Which will make it more challenging.
Which will make it more
yes,
challenging.
A little bit. It looks like.
So are we able to maybe get our slides in?
I think we've got it here, Andy.
Okay.
All right.
Are those the ones we got over here?
Reset.
Okay, we're good. All right. So, so we wanted to give you a sample of the Advancing Curriculum with Entrepreneurial Mindset. And so there's what this place is supposed to look like here. Apparently it's 6 degrees, I think, out there right now.
Well, it's got a friendly blanket of white on it.
You know, I don't know. The green, yeah, it's a friendly blanket of white. So we want to jump into opportunity recognition. You know, it's kind of that before the creating value part of it. So we got some instructions for you to jump into this. And we have pulled out literally just like a 15-minute segment of what we'll actually do in the ACE workshops. And your first instruction is to just choose something about this room that you're intrigued about, okay? It could be the structural, it could be lighting, it could be audio visual, it could go wherever you want to go. You can kind of look around. I don't even care if you need to stand up and take a close look and pick out something intriguing. Now, Doug had mentioned that this hotel staff actually stayed overnight so that they could accommodate us. And maybe they'll be here tonight as well. We'll see how much longer they have to be here to accommodate us. It's been amazing. It's been amazing how they're taking care of us. And so maybe you want to think about who made that happen. It could be somebody here that works here. It could be somebody from the foundation staff. It might be some of the presenters that were doing their thing. And it could be a lot of the behind the scenes of this. Okay, so hopefully you've got that in your head. So there's a tool that we use out there that is the Empathy Map Canvas. And this is fine print. It's really small up there. You're not going to be able to see it completely. That's okay. We're going to give you an abbreviated version of this. This is the full version. And we will actually use this when we're looking for opportunities. And you can print one of these things out and actually start to fill it out. And you can interview to get the answers for this, and you can go all that through it. But instead, Jessica has been able to put together something
of the very fine print. We want to give a little flavor of this empathy map today. So you are starting to think about someone who had to do some work to get us here today. And what we'd like you to do is to get together with a neighbor or two and talk a little bit about that person, right? And some of the things that you might put yourself in their shoes. Think about the tasks that they're doing, what they might be feeling, what is influencing what and how they have to do the things that they need to do to get it done, right? So we might be identifying some pain points as well along the way, right? So you don't need to write anything down, but we want you to think about these 4 things as you talk about someone who got us into this room today. So go ahead to a neighbor and talk through some of these questions.
Now, if you are wondering if you've got any questions about the instructions and how to go about this, we have one of our fine colleague facilitators here, Khaled, is in the aisleway, and you can just call him over anytime. So turn to your neighbor, go to it. If you got any questions, Khaled is available right there.
5 minutes of this.
And because you'll have a pretty good explanation. All right, we got about 30 seconds until we kick back in. 30 seconds. All right, 10 seconds. 10-second countdown. 10-second countdown. We'll bring it back in.
We gonna lift off?
We are. Like rain. I'll bring him back in. Okay. We could let you all talk all day long, but we were told we're not supposed to. I will tell you that one of the things I was wondering about when I was running through this activity in my head is how many Pringles the foundation staff has been eating for the last few months. Anyway.
It's a really important fact. So as you were going through this, you probably identified some pain points. As engineers, we're really good at seeing problems and just looking at them with, I can fix that sort of mentality. And that's part of that mindset that we're trying to instill into our students. This is a great activity to kick off your design projects within your classroom. It's a great way to get the students starting to think in that customer-centric mode. I've also used this in my classroom at later stages in the design process. So as the students have already chosen their designs and they're still refining them, it's a good spot for them to stop and reflect about the customer once again, right? It also helps them articulate exactly what their solution is, why they're thinking about the solution and this problem in the first place, and also why is their solution a good solution to the problem. So we see this come in multiple places within the design process because we know it's iterative and we need to think about this the entire way through.
And one of the things that often comes up when we talk about value creation is products. But we have to remember there's also services involved in that. So this helps emphasize that as well. So as kind of a wrap up here, Doug had mentioned all the EUFD opportunities coming this summer. Here are specifically the ACE dates, and we do have an online option as well for those of you that might not be able to travel. So advertise those out, get those golden tickets out there, and we hope to see you out on the road.
Thank you.
All right. Well, big thanks to Andy and Jessica for bringing that to this group. We actually have breakouts to go to, so dig in, get excited, enjoy your breakouts. You do have a break beforehand, so we'll see you out in the hallway. Enjoy.